Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is now Tuesday, the 30th of March. Can you believe we're almost a quarter of the way through this new year of 2021? That is pretty crazy, I got to tell you. Um, let's see. The knee is getting better. I'm waiting for this to show up. There it is. I'm going to share it onto my Sealy Guy page. There we go. So it's in both places. Anyhow, I'm so excited. If you've seen a couple of my posts, I'm revisiting Nurka's SIA course, Supreme Influence and Action. And for those that aren't aware, I have written a book, and I think Dawn Hall will be on here, and I know she has read the book once. Now she's getting it again. She got a paper copy, and she's reading it again. So I'm just really, really excited. It has changed a lot of people's lives. It truly has, this book, just in the reading of it. In fact, hey, Dawn, I was just talking about you. In fact, the editor had a major transformation because she had never been exposed to this type of information before. And she had an amazing transformation in her life. It literally changed her life in working with me and bringing this book into fruition. So it is that kind of life-changing information. And what I want to talk about today is awareness. So as you're coming on, hello, Dawn from Concord, and Joyce Martin is reading it. Oh, that's awesome. So as you do come on, let us know where you're from. If you're watching it live, maybe you're watching the replay, which I know a lot of people do. And that's just great. But if you would drop in the comments and just let us know. And then feel free to drop comments in as we move along. I'm going to ask several questions, and feel free to respond to those questions in the comments. Everybody can learn from everybody else. If you're a super private person and you'd rather send it to me in a private message, that's wonderful too. We can start a dialogue that way too. So what is awareness, right? You know, that's probably the very first question. Is we got to have a common place to be able to be talking from. And what I am going to be talking about in a very short time. Understand, I could talk for 2 hours and not even touch really the depths of awareness. And because it is that vital to everything, every aspect of our being, really. You know, if you're stuck in a problem, if you are repetitive results are showing up, if you're not getting the results that you would like to be getting, all of that is related truly back to awareness. And it's really the awareness of what's going on in our subconscious mind. So the more that you can elevate the unconscious actions, language, behaviors that you're doing, and elevate those into the conscious mind, then you're going to help yourself understand why you do the things you do. Why do you get the results that you do in life, right? That's one of the things I used to talk a lot about when introducing my books. My book is why do you get the results in life that you get? Because we get our results. There's a reason why we get the results. You can put two people in the exact same situation and the results can be drastically different. Right? Why? There's only one answer. It's within each individual, how they're thinking, their behaviors, their actions, all that good stuff. All right. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about awareness. Most of all of this is going on subconsciously. Your communication, the words that you use in daily communication. You're on the phone just talking with somebody and kind of something comes out, or the way that you say it, maybe even in tonality. Your physiology is a huge communicator, right? We had a whole live on that several weeks ago, and that's 55% of your overall communication. Well, 99% of that you're not even thinking about, right? It's just happening from the subconscious. So if you're aware of it, then you can be more aware of if you can be aware of it in the presence, then you can be more cognizant of your communication skills when you're talking with somebody else, obviously, right? Your decision making. And then what we notice, you know, when you're driving down the car or driving in your car down the street, how many yellow cars do you typically see, right? But if I ask you that question, hey, today, when you go out and drive, ask yourself just before you start pulling out of the driveway, I'm going to see if I can find 10 yellow cars today. And you will find, more than likely, 10 yellow cars where you maybe never saw a yellow car before, all right? What's going on there? This is all about raising that level of awareness. And here's something else. I'm going to read this. Is from within the book. on page 194, just to give you an idea what I'm talking about with awareness. Everybody that's joining, I love you, appreciate it. I just can't see who it is, so I love you. I'm so happy that you're on here, all right? I wish I had my wife helping me out here, but I don't. So, okay, so this is from the book on page 194, Discovering Your Authentic Truth. And I want to ask you about your awareness. How fast are you moving right now? And more than likely, unless you're driving in your car watching this on your phone, you're probably sitting still, right? At a table or desk or you're in front of your computer or in wherever you're watching it from. But chances are you're not in a lot of motion, right? But I'm going to raise your level of awareness. All right, right now on Earth, you are spinning at about 1,000 miles per hour. That's truly how fast your body is going around in this planet. All right, you're traveling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour in a solar system that is hurling through space at 515,000 miles per hour. So you're moving, whether you realize it or not. Now, if you were to step away from your position right now, you were able to step outside of the, outside of the, say on the moon, you could watch the revolving Earth, or you could step further back, see the Earth revolving around the sun, or step further back and see the whole galaxy moving through the universe. You're moving. But your perception right now is that you're not moving. So that's a different level of awareness when you start looking at that from a different perspective. A lot of this is run by what's called the reticular activating system in your mind, the RAS, okay? The RAS controls what you see, what you interpret, and a lot of how you interpret it, okay? The RAS, it's got a very valid function. In other words, in reality, what's really going on out there, there's billions and billions and billions and bits of information that are flooding your mind every single day, all right? At every moment, there's all kinds of input coming on, whether you recognize it or not, especially when you're out and about. But your subconscious mind is, but it would be overload to your conscious mind. So your conscious mind can't handle all that information. So the subconscious mind, through the RAS, is going to filter that information so that the conscious mind only gets what it can handle, basically. That's why when you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to go out and see 10 yellow cars today, the RAS says, okay, now this is important to me. It's now important to my conscious mind because I gave my subconscious mind basically a direction. And so now it's important. So the RAS is going to open up. It's going to start looking for yellow cars. Have you ever gone out, bought a new car, and then all of a sudden it seems like everybody's got that car, right? And you didn't see it as much beforehand, or you're thinking about buying it, and all of a sudden you start to see it on the road all over the place, right? It's the same kind of thing. So how is that important? How am I going to relate all this back to relationships, back to your decision making? All right, it's vital. Let me explain it this. I'm just going to read this from the book because maybe this will help a little bit. This is on page 203 from my book, Discovering Your Authentic Truth. All right, so as you become, and now we're talking about language. We're talking about your body language, your tonality. If you react and get angry, maybe your loved one or something does something really stupid, or your child or something like that, and you just react. Right? That's not the most empowering type of behavior to be employing maybe at that time, right? Maybe you would wish to be able to respond differently. Well, if you're aware of that reaction feeling going on inside you before it happens, then maybe you can respond differently. So that's just one area of relationships. How many times do you say something to your spouse, meaning one thing, or your partner or a friend, you're thinking one thing and they interpret it completely differently, right? It lands in their world totally differently. Well, if you got awareness and you're watching their physiology, their physical cues, watching how their face changes, maybe to bright red because they're angry, or maybe it's to joy, whatever it might be, sensory acuity. If you have that awareness, that improves your ability to communicate with that person, all right? So let me read this from page 203. As you become more aware of the words you use, you begin unleashing your true power. The more cognizant of your words, the better you understand what is going on within your subconscious mind at a subconscious level. The more you are aware of others' language, the greater you can understand their map of the world, how they see the world, how they're interpreting what you are saying. What is their modality? What is their primary method of communication? We cover that on another one of these lives. Are they auditory? Are they visual? Are they kinesthetic? Are they audio digital? All right? Are they process orientated? By understanding each other's maps at a more specific level, your overall communication greatly increases. This is only done through awareness. If you're not aware of this, how in the world can you, not inspect it, but how can you evaluate it? How can you pull out lessons learned from it, right? How can you grow? How can you become better? The only way you can do that is if you're aware of these subtleties, all right? So your understandings of why you and others do certain things or behave in certain ways becomes readily apparent. The mystery is no longer. Why did somebody push your buttons, right? Understanding that they're pushing your buttons is the first thing, right? To understand that they're starting to stir something inside you. Well, that's a level of awareness. If you want to create change in your life in any aspect, in any way, you got to be aware. Waking up to that with what's going on inside you is the very first step at improving not only your communication, but improving your life in every single way. If you are depressed, if you're in a sad state and you're just finding yourself moping around all the time, that is a disempowered state. So how could you be able to, on your own, without therapy, without medications and stuff, and I'm not talking about medically, clinically depressed, I'm just talking about you're in the blues. How can you shift your state? How can you start changing that? Well, the first thing you got to do is recognize that that is not how you desire to be, unless it is, right? But if you're in a state that you don't desire to be, the very first thing you got to do is be able to recognize that you're in a state that you don't want to be in. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't even recognize when they're in the blues. A lot of people don't recognize they're using abusive language to their loved one or to their children, right? If you're not aware of it, you continue to do it until you wake up or until somebody points it out to you. It becomes a habit. It just becomes the way you are. A lot of this is driven by the coding deep within your subconscious mind. And how do you know what's going on with that coding? And this is all about awareness, is taking a look at your results. The results you're getting in life. If they are not in the desired direction or the desired results that you're striving for, then you take a look back at the next piece of the equation, and that is the actions that you take, right? Your actions drive your results. Well, then what drives our actions, right? Well, it's our behaviors or our beliefs, right? Our beliefs and behaviors drive our actions, which drives our results. I will tell you, from what I understand of typical clinical psychology, that's pretty much what they focus on. They're trying to change your behaviors or have you awaken to the behavior that you're doing and how that isn't working, and let's try to change your behavior. But guess what? There's another level that I don't think most of the Western psychologists even dive into, and that's your core values. Your core values, which are imprinted into you between the first 7-8 years of your living, when you don't have the filter of your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind's taking in everything. Remember, it's seeing all those billions of bits of information. It's hearing everything. It forgets nothing, even at that age. But at that younger age, because of the brave wavelength and all that, your subconscious mind takes it all in. So if you're a parent and telling them, oh, you're stupid to your kid, or money doesn't grow on trees, or you can't have that, you can never achieve that, that's being programmed deep into that subconscious mind. And when you, years later, even though you're not aware of it, because you may not even remember it, it is driving aspects of your life, especially if you're not achieving the desires that you want to achieve. So the first level of all of this is to wake up with awareness. And that's what a meditation does. That's what yoga will do, a right type of yoga. And obviously, any kind of personal growth that you do, listening to positive personal growth type of material, reading a great book like this, right? Those types of things are going to help increase your level of awareness, which increases your level of consciousness, which is going to improve the level and degree of your life in all aspects, whether it's your communication, your decision making, and what you just notice in life, all right? And just how well you are attached to yourself. So I had a couple other questions. I didn't even get to those. What are the advantages of increasing your awareness? All right. Have you ever had an accident, a vehicle accident, or maybe an accident like my knee, right? My level of awareness went down into tunnel vision. That's what I can tell you is why I had this accident with my knee. All right. This is a perfect example. I just thought of this. This is a perfect example. All right. On your levels of awareness. If my awareness was broader, I would not have gotten myself into the situation that led me to breaking my knee. I have got no one else to blame. I can't blame the conditions. I can't blame the mountain. I can't blame the person I was skiing with. It's me. And it was because my tunnel vision was happening because I got so in the moment. I was having such a great run and just bombing through these moguls. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh boy, my awareness opened back up and I'm like, oh, I'm going a little bit too fast. Let me try to slow down. And I hit a mogul wrong way and cracked my knee. That's awareness. Going back to traffic accidents. Have you ever been involved in a traffic accident? Hopefully not. But if you have, when you replay it and you're going, man, that was so stupid. Or, an accident in the house, or you broke something very precious to you, you dropped or whatever. And if you replay that and you go back and think about it, man, how could I have been so stupid, right? How could I have allowed that to happen? And I know that's bad language, but I'm just trying to drive home a point. The point is that if you had a greater level of awareness just before that incident probably wouldn't have happened. Maybe you would have noticed the car blowing off the red light instead of being focused on something else that you were looking at, all right? So awareness shows up in so many different ways. But for the intent of this kind of series and stuff, and primarily what I'm talking about in the book, it has to do with recognizing our language, because that is the very first step. The self-talk is the most powerful talk you'll ever have. And then how you communicate with others is obviously going to, if you can elevate your communication with others, you're going to elevate every other aspect in your life. And I'll close it out with this. The greater your awareness, the greater your perspective of your overall understanding of yourself and the world around you. All right. So I'll kind of leave you with this last thought. Think about how you can change your life's circumstances by increasing your level of awareness. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on Thursday. And we'll have another subject. I have no idea what I'm talking about yet. We'll have a good one though. We'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.